We can go ahead and call the meeting of June 17th to order. Please rise for the invocation. Bobby Campbell.
Father God, we thank you for another day that we have not seen before. We thank you, God, for allowing us to be here and to represent you. We ask you to be with each and every person that's here this evening, be with their families, continue to work, help all of us do the work that you would have us to do. God, we ask you to be with this council, continue to watch over them, give them the wisdom they need. Help them to understand, God, that you have a great calling on their lives, and God, we thank you for them wanting to do this job, God. We know it's not easy, but we know, Lord, you've put the right people on the bus to get the right things done. God, we ask you to continue to let each one of them know that the best is yet to come. So help us, all of us, to know, Lord, that we just want to continue to do what's pleasing in thy sight. We ask God to also, Lord, to bless our first responders, be with them, watch over them, protect our city. God, help us understand, Lord, that you've called us all to help each other. And God, we ask this all in the name of Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Yes. First of all, we have a new council person, Councilman Paris. Honored to be the first one to welcome you. And so I'll start the roll call. Councilperson Paris.
Here.
Councilperson Maples.
Here.
Councilperson Gill. Here. Councilperson Hawkins.
Here.
Council President Estopany.
Present.
Councilperson Owen.
Here.
Councilperson Ellis.
Here.
Councilperson Samuel.
Here.
Let the record reflect 8 council members present. Councilperson White is absent.
I wasn't sure who Mr. Parrish was. I didn't see his name tag. Is there we have a
Well,
name tag
sir,
already?
we ordered it the day after he was caucused in. We went down, Patsy and I both went to VIP. Their person that does it was off, and they thought they would have it ready today, and it is not ready, and we had notified him and told him that he would not have a name tonight.
Just thought I'd ask. That's
If you want to put that up.
It's important to stay humble.
There you go.
They need to put a P after that.
Minutes. There's minutes to be approved for June 3rd.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and second to approve the minutes of June 3rd. Any comments or corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion second to approve the agenda as submitted. Any comments? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Agenda is approved. Claims to be approved. Want to do the civil first, or?
Yes, a few changes. This van is, I'm not sure what that's all about, but Civil City on page 5. Close to the top floor, Allison Lane Animal, there's one for $182.41. Needs to be discounted by $36.48 to bring the total $245.93. And then also on page 12, close to the middle of the page, for public safety under the police. Second from the bottom, we got Vivu for $1,800 to pull that one because they're pulling the contract on that.
Okay. And then I think everything else was in order then, that I posted?
Yes.
Okay, and I do want to draw everybody's attention, if y'all look on page 13, if you're wondering why the claims are $2 million plus, we did do a transfer from under City Council, that's on there, $1 million to go in health insurance, because of all of our Humana claims, and this doc is $699,920. So you give you an idea, it's mainly all insurance for the total. So if nobody has any questions, I think the new total is, I'll make a motion to approve the claims for $2,151,000 $26.10.
Yes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the amended claims for the amount stated by Ms. Gill. All those, any other comments or questions regarding the claims? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, next up, Parks.
Parks, I have a few changes on page 3. There was board stipends for board members for the May 9th special meeting. There's 5 of them that need to be removed. So that takes the total down by $500 to a total of $85,621.49.
All claims in order?
Yes.
And those are being removed because they're not being paid for the special meeting, correct?
Right,
Right.
they get paid per month.
No.
It's
If
up
you're
to
to our
the
board.
up to, yes.
And
If
what was
they-
that total?
$85,621.49.
So I'll make a motion to approve the Parks claim of the $85,621.49.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve Parks claims for $85,621.49. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Passes. Report of the clerk.
Okay, 2 things. They just put in a new air conditioning unit today. They finished up at 4 o'clock. They worked on it several days last week and finished at 4. So, I don't know what that fan is. It was cool, but
Sounds like that.
I think it's never made that noise. I think the heat is doing it. We don't know. Can you all hear back there pretty good though now? Okay. It's difficult to hear when you're out because of the... Yeah. Well, we're blowing up. And then the other thing is, I noticed that I had put on here under Councilor Merkley about the collection of tax increment financing for the redevelopment, number 15. And today I received the River Ridge. It would have been on, but they sent it to the county, and the county clerk's office just gave it to me today. So I'm going to ask if you all would also accept the capture of incremental assessed value for the River Ridge Development Authority to be entered into the minutes to accept it. I think you all got letters too.
Yeah, they were sent to. Can I just make a motion to accept that into the record?
Second it.
A motion second to accept the River Ridge letter to the, what did you say? The public record. For public record. For public record. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Anything else?
No, sir, that's it.
All right, unfinished business. Heather Metcalf. Transferring certain funds within the same department.
This is the transfer that was tabled at the last meeting, and Ms. Green's here to speak about it if you need to talk to her.
With this transfers, where we actually are replacing we have 3 animal control vehicles, so we're replacing one of those trucks. It's a 2010 truck that we had transferred to the county.
I think one of the big reasons, now that I'm looking at it again, that there was some caution with going forward without anybody here at the last meeting, was the $7,000. Well, actually, almost all of it. Well, there's $7,000 coming out of your sewer utility and $2,000 coming out of your water utility. So I think there was a question of, are those funds going to be sustainable through the end of the year?
Yes, actually what we found out is that we had a water leak, so we've had that repaired. So those bills have significantly gone down, so we had a little extra there.
I think that was the biggest holdup.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to pass 2019 OR 27 on first and second.
Second.
A motion second to pass 2019 OR 27 on the first and second reading. Any other discussion?
I have a question. Did you say that we transferred or gave or sold the old truck to the county, or we're buying this one from the county?
No, we transferred the old one to the county. They've added a part-time animal control officer, and we're in need, so.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passing first and second.
Thank you very much.
All right, under new business, we have Jeffersonville High School wrestling coach, Mr. Somerville, here to talk about some wrestlers who qualified to travel on behalf of Jeffersonville wrestling.
Good afternoon. I'm Joe Somerville. I'm an assistant wrestling coach for both the Team Jeff Wrestling Club and Jeffersonville High School. I've been doing this for like 15 years. Started when my son was 4. He's now a junior at Ohio State. So today I'm here to tell you about Team Jeff Wrestling. Team Jeff Wrestling is the club portion of Jeffersonville High School's wrestling program. We serve a large part of Jeffersonville's youth community by providing wrestling camps, elementary league at all 9 of Jeffersonville's elementary schools. We help organize that for that 2.5-week time period in March, as well as travel teams for all K through 12th grades. This year, we had 24 kids attend our first ever K through 2 camp. We had 35 K through 5 kids that joined our travel team, and we also had 178 elementary kids participate in our elementary league wrestling. That's both boys and girls. As well as another 30 kids participate in our off-season program at the middle school and high school from both River Valley and Parkview, both equally represented. So that's a total of 267 youth who participate in our programs. That is a number that both Danny Struck, who's the head coach, and myself are very proud of. So during the summer months, which was considered our off-season, some of our wrestlers, by traveling and participating in various Indiana tournaments, earn the privilege not only representing Indiana, but also Jeffersonville on national teams. This year, in addition to the 25 middle school and high school students that will be attending our Iron Sharpens Iron team wrestling camp at Earlham College, we have 4 other wrestlers who will be traveling as Team Indiana representatives. 2 of these just got back from Washington State yesterday at 4 o'clock, just in time for Father's Day. They competed at the 16 and under National Cadet Duels as a member of Team Indiana. The cost of this experience was $795 each. These same 2 will be joining another Team Jeff member at the U.S. Marine Corps National Tournament in Fargo, North Dakota. This tournament takes place in July and is considered the world's largest tournament for high schoolers, as every team has some 1 or 2 competing in different styles. We have Greco and freestyle, your basic Olympic styles. The cost of this experience is $995 each. Another wrestler will be also representing Jeffersonville by wrestling on a Disney Duels team, also comprised of other Indiana wrestlers. The cost of this experience is $695. The total for these trips alone is $5,270. And those amounts are set by the ISWA, which is the Indiana State Wrestling Association. Through our various programs and tournaments that we host, Team Jeff is able to provide financial assistance to the wrestlers that participate in these off-season camps and tournaments. The wrestlers themselves have also been actively earning money in the community by helping set up Jeffersonville's Relay for Life down at the bridge, helping others move, and just general odd jobs that people need completed. Still, the wrestlers and their families could use some help in covering the remaining costs of these awesome opportunities. I respectfully ask this council to consider making a donation to Team Jeff Wrestling to help these young men, quote unquote, see the world through wrestling. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there, anyone want to make any comments?
Mr. Somerville? What is the gap that you're trying to fill? Do you have that dollar amount?
We are about, right now with the 4 wrestlers that we still have going on trips, we're about 2,500 short.
And when are they going?
Huh?
When will they be leaving? When will they going?
2 got back from Washington. The other one, the Fargo trip is in July, and I believe the Disney Duels is also in July.
If I could throw in I'm pretty familiar with this and what they do. the fundraising effort here isn't just a one-time thing. Their fundraising over the years has been absolutely unbelievable. If you were to really, like with Coach Struck and Coach Somerville, look at how much money they raise that gets put directly back to kids, it's over $100,000 since Coach Struck has came to Jeffersonville High School. So this isn't something where they're just like, hey, this is the first time we just want to hand out. This is something they work every year to try to raise this money. And I'd like to point out as well, many of the wrestlers, and maybe this shouldn't influence you in one way or the other, but many of the wrestlers come from our communities that are most in need. And Danny reaches out to them specifically to give them a place to be and a family to be part of. So it's kind of like the most least served in the community oftentimes are the people that are being able to take advantage of this. And this is something as well, and the last note I have for you is that this is something that Coach Struck doesn't ask. I said, well, you can't come every year and ask for it. He's like, no. I spread it around. Every few years I come back. I don't want to burn anything up. This will be I won't come back next year. It'll be a few years from now because I don't want to be like a drain on any one entity. So that's in that conversation. I told them that they should come and get a hold of President Zastobny and had Coach Somerville. And I think Danny he's somewhere now with.
Yeah, he's still traveling back from Washington. He went with the team.
With wrestlers.
He is a state coach for Indiana.
I'd make another comment. I certainly support youth activities and all that. I would just encourage us to remember that I assume somebody will make a motion to approve a certain amount, that we realize that however many teams are at Jeff High and River Valley, Parkview, and those others, they will be here as well. And so we need to be consistent with our thought process on, I know we've helped in the past, and I'm not saying let's not help at all. I'm just saying we need to be prepared for that and identify where we're going to take the money from.
I was thinking maybe we go to special projects. I think it's kind of I think I asked you in an email what our balance was at that time. Maybe Ms. Metcalf, you could speak up.
20,000.
No, I think isn't it more than that?
Well,
39,000
Yeah.
in the general fund, special projects.
Mm-hmm.
And the question as well will become, if nobody else does, I intend on making the motion. Does the check, in this case, you'd have to help me, you guys on that end of the table have to help me out, go to Team Jeff and then they facilitate the funds to get it to the kid? I mean, what's the motion sound like?
Well, they'll
We'll have to go to the
invoice in, it'll have to go to the school,
Okay.
Or go to
and then
An
they
not-for-profit
cash it, and then
school.
we'll divide it out.
Okay.
We just need the invoice.
So
Well, a lot of,
She needs the
I
invoice.
need an invoice, but a lot of times, I think it has gone to the foundation. Clark County Greater Clark Foundation. And then we've done that before.
But for today, I wouldn't have to specify. We're just making
where
the...
it's coming out of.
Yeah, I'll need an invoice and who to, because I think that's what we did with the band. It went filtered through the foundation, and then it was specified for that, so.
I have a question for you,
That's right.
before you do your motion. Whatever dollar amount you set, if it's to pay for the amount needed, or a part of that amount, when the next team or the next band group comes in and they say, well, we're short $20,000, how do we say on this we're going to pay it all, we're going to say a portion? Do we compare it to, like, how much have you already raised? I'm just curious to try to be consistent.
Absolutely, and I don't have a clear-cut answer for you, but one of the things that raised my mind when I had this conversation with Coach was when we've helped teams in the past, I kind of, in my mind, kind of think of like, okay, if they're representing Jeffersonville, some national event, I think $250 or so a kid is something that I'm comfortable with. So if it's with these guys, and there's about 10 of them, by the time you get done counting them, that's where the 2,500. But I guess it's up to everybody to kind of determine where you are on that. I mean, some people may think that it's not a good use of funds at all, and that's...
Sure.
But to me, this is the special project. We're advertising Jeffersonville at a national level, and they do. It's Team Jeff. Everybody knows where they're from. It's not just some byline on a little thing somewhere. It is Jeffersonville being represented across the country. All right, well, with that, I'm going to motion to say out of special projects, no more than, just going to phrase it like that, no more than $2,500. And then whatever the gap ends up being, it can go up to that 2,500. Is that?
Yeah.
All right, well, then I have done so.
We have a motion and a second to allow for up to $2,500 out of special projects to go towards this, the wrestling travel to represent Jeffersonville. Any other comments or questions?
I just want to make the comment on behalf of the city council, please congratulate them all for us.
And were you all wanting you to get me the contact information?
Sure would.
Anything else? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? There you go. We're going to have to submit a claim to us. All right, thank you. Mr. Merkley, a resolution designating an area needing redevelopment.
The next three items on the agenda are all related to the project, the Spring Street project that the council is aware of. This is in reference for, I think this was discussed not the last meeting, but the meeting prior to that, the city applying for a community block grant for funding for a portion of this project. But before that can be done, a resolution must be adopted designating the area where the project is taking place as an area needing redevelopment. You have in front of you a resolution that would do that. And attached is the area that would be designated. Again, this is the area for the Spring Street streetscape or revitalization. And this is a requirement. These are federal funds. This is a requirement that this be done before we can be eligible for the grant. And the next two items on the agenda, then we'll discuss the actual grant application and the funding for the local match. So,
Well, yes, I understand it's a requirement, but I just want to add, this will not, with declaring this area, all of Blighton area, will not
it's not,
affect any
we're not,
of the businesses or anything
we
downtown?
first of all, we're not declaring blighted area.
Oh, okay.
It's an area in need of redevelopment.
I thought I read it where it was a blighted area.
No.
Well, it won't affect any of the...
That's what it used to be called years ago. And
Okay,
they've changed
I
it to
stand
an area in need of redevelopment because the blighted that was
But it won't affect any
not
of
a,
the businesses or anything
No,
like that?
no.
I just wanted so the public
Correct.
knows that we're
It-
not here.
You did see the word blight.
I did.
Second whereas, or third says blighting conditions, so,
Yeah.
so you get off the hook a little bit on that.
it used to be we had to adopt resolutions declaring a blighted area. And they changed that. When Vicki and I were on the council, it was a blighted area.
What's the resolution number?
That was a long time ago.
Motion approved 2019 R5.
Second.
A motion second to approve 2019 R5. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Did you say the next item?
Yes, the next item is in reference to the same project, and I believe Nicholas Creevy is here. He is with River Hills and can discuss the actual project in detail. I think you have in your packet a copy of the proposed...
No, because it's 111
Oh, okay.
pages, and
He was
I
supposed
said
to
I
print
was,
it.
I,
I'll turn things over to Mr.
no, I can't print 111 pages.
spoke with yours just then.
Can I print them on, yeah.
Well,
Well, then you'll just have to
It
go
was in
over
the email.
for the,
It was in the email.
just go
yeah,
over,
it was in mine.
Right.
go over for the record what it, summarize it for the record.
I'll be happy
Please.
to. So this is a required public hearing for all CDBG grant applications. This is the second and final one. I have a sign-in sheet. This is just for attendance. You will...
So on or about June 28th, the City of Jefferson intends to apply to the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs for the grant from the State Community Development Block Grant Main Street Revitalization Program. This is Title I of the Federal Housing Community Development Act of 1974. The project will be streetscape improvements and public infrastructure improvements, including connecting existing and new sidewalks, enhanced crosswalks, curb bump outs, curb ramps, wayfinding signage, decorative lighting, additional tree plantings, bus shelters, public art display, bicycle lanes, and replacing the right turn lane at Hospital Boulevard with pedestrian facilities. The total amount of CDBG funds requested is $430,327. The amount of CDBG funds proposed to be used for activities that will benefit low to moderate income persons is $184,481. The applicant proposes to expend an estimated $125,938 in non-CDBG funds. These funds will be derived from the following sources, and it's just cash on hand. You'll deal with that later. And that will make up the 20% required match for these funds. So the city will get 4-to-1 match approximately on this project. This project has been outlined in numerous city plans, including the Spring Street Master Plan, the city's comprehensive plan of 2015, the Bike Ped Plan 2013, the Plattsburgh Neighborhood Plan. The state met with the mayor on May 29th to discuss this project. It ties in well with the Envision Center that's going on up there with a HUD program. And I can answer any questions about the application from there.
So basically, what they're doing is handling this grant application and process so that we can help fund the next phase of the Spring Street project, which is the hospital phase that'll go all the way down to 10th Street. It'll
Right, it's 10th to about 14th Street.
Right, which brings us up to the Claysburg section that is under construction now. And if you haven't drove through that part of Spring Street to see it, you should, because it looks pretty good. They're getting ready to switch over, if they haven't already, to the other side of the street. But this is an 80-20 match. If it's granted, we're looking at $125,938, like you said, that we will need to front or come up with as a council in order to provide that local match. I don't know if anybody has any questions about that. What he's asking for tonight is for permission to proceed with making the grant application, and then once that comes back favorable, we will have to appropriate the $125,900. Talked with Heather a little bit about where we could find some of that match money. Edit is an obvious source. I know that sometimes we're a little hesitant to use Edit, but we do have quite a bit of money that's not budgeted there. If that's off the table, or if we want to split it in other areas, we have some cume cap funds, depending on when this grant comes in. We have some cume cap funds that would be eligible to use for this match. If it came in after the first of the year, I think that would be one route we could go. And we also have funds in our Sprint lease account, which I think would take care of this also. It would pretty much wipe out that Sprint lease, so I would suggest if we want to use some of that money, maybe we split it and spread the wealth amongst different accounts. But we certainly have several different areas we can pull money from to come up with this match. The UEZ has expressed some interest in possibly helping with some of this also. I know they're in the middle of figuring some things out, so I don't know how much they'll have to contribute. And I know the mayor is, and the redevelopment department is supportive of the project that they're working on a little farther down Spring Street in the Arts and Cultural District, and their focus is there. So I don't know that we could count on redevelopment for much as far as match on this section. But we do have some options, as I said. Did you have anything else to add?
Well, this is a public hearing.
We'll get
so-
to that, yep.
Yeah, I just
We'll
want to
We'll go ahead and do that right away.
make sure they.
This is a
cover it.
public hearing. Anyone who'd like to speak for or against or regarding this topic, please step forward and give your name and address if you, for this public hearing. Anyone here to speak for or against this project or this issue?
I'm Richard Eklund, 1608 Flintlock Drive, Jeffersonville. I just have a question. I attended the UEZ meeting when this was presented, and I was under the impression that there was the ability to identify the matching funds as funds that had already been used in the project, and that we weren't going to have to come up with any, we could already use funds that had been expended, on the first phase, maybe. I thought that's
I
what
can address
I have
that.
a really hard time.
And that was the original intent. We were going to use the engineering report as a large portion of the match, 111,000. The state has their own rules on how long that local match can be expended, and the state's 18 months and it's closer to 20, 24.
So that's not available anymore.
So that's not available.
Okay, great. Anyone else to speak regarding this topic? Seeing no one, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing. I agree with what Matt had to say regarding cume cap and edit. I think that's what we've used in the past for capital projects and the one-shot type projects like this. So I would definitely support that.
I would support edit from the standpoint of anytime we can put money into the ground, into infrastructure, I think that's what it's for, rather than other stuff. And so, I could support that.
Okay, is it in front of you? How much is left and how much do we have left?
In edit,
I thought you had it pulled up. I wouldn't have.
If I could, the resolution that you have in front of you, yes, you are committing the local match, but you're still going to have to come back and do an additional appropriation at some point.
right.
So that's the reason the resolution before you is giving you an option here. It has edit in there, but we've also put general fund in there just so you have that as an option down the road. Obviously, if you want to do entirely edit, you can. You're going to have to come back at a later time to do an additional appropriation whenever that time comes. All the state and the federal government want is they want to make sure that when they send you the bill,
They want the commitment, but we don't have to identify the fund right now.
loosely you need to identify the fund, but I think, if you want to add cume cap in there, you could, and you could say, down the road, we just want to do edit. So that's the reason we put general on there, because we want to get into a debate right now as to whether or not to be general or edit. I think that's a debate that would be discussed later.
And if this isn't funded from the grant, then
It's irrelevant.
Then it doesn't matter,
I
right?
personally like to put cume cap out there on the table because that's very limited what we can use that for. And edit, I like to safeguard that. We're running so close and all the other funds. If something were to come up, we had a situation what we're dealing with Clarksville on the lift stations and
And
things.
we've used a significant amount of our cume cap on that Clarksville deal. That's why if the grant came back down the road with enough time for us to replenish those cume cap funds, then that would be an option. But
Delynn Rutherford here is from redevelopment. She's the grant writer, and I don't know if she has anything to add, but she's also been involved. I think the last grant we did as a community block grant was, correct me if I'm wrong, was the Chestnut Street. The arch and the bike lanes. What's amazing, I was in radio, I would do that, nobody knew what I was talking about.
Yeah. All right. With that, I guess I'm open to entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve, 2019,
Six.
is it R6?
Yes,
Yep.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve 2019 R6. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes opposed? There you go. So that was 14, right? Yep.
Yep.
So, Mr. Merkley, you're back up here regarding redevelopment commission.
That application so long, let's see.
All it is this one.
Yeah, we do this on an annual basis. Actually, it's the redevelopment commission that takes the official action on this, but they have voted to notify the other taxable units that there will be no excess value, assessed value in our TIFs, which are Intercity Road, Gateway Falls Landing, Beth Nova, Keystone, Vote Valve, and Galstar. Statutorily, this is just for you all to put in the record and accept.
Make a motion to accept into the record?
Second.
A motion second to accept this letter into the record. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next up, number 16, Andy Crouch. An ordinance transferring certain funds within the same department.
None of that looked familiar. Thank you. Awesome. Hello.
Hello.
I'm here to request a transfer of funds from one item in my budget to another, and I'd like to explain to you why. Last year, I believe, HR department can collaborate along with Liz and the council work toward resolving some equity issues in the salary ordinance among a group of employees that were considered more off the mark than I believe some others. One of the metrics that was used in that analysis and decision was the number of years in service each employee had been in that position. I have an employee that 2 years ago went through a title change to more closely relate to what he's actually been doing for 9 years. He hasn't changed his duties, he hasn't changed his position, just went through a title change. Because of the title change, he showed up as 2 years in his position as opposed to 9. I've gone back to HR with Kim and with Liz, talked through that. Liz has looked at that and she's agreed he should have been in that group. And I'm just asking for him to be included in that group and just for retroactively to have his salary changed and with the funds coming from the ordinance that you have in front of you.
Basically, a housekeeping that was to his, but
Here-
he's being very cooperative, so this is something I think we really need to do because he's inadvertently, his time there, no fault of his, but he
It
has
isn't
been
a fault
here
of
doing
his.
the job and everybody else was moved up and
Right.
he just wasn't because of the time.
So I didn't want to come ask you for more money. We found money in the current budget to do that, so it's just a transfer.
Andy, I'd have to ask the same question I asked Ms. Green.
Sure.
It's a utility fund that you were pulling $10,000 out of.
Correct.
How do we have $10,000 extra in the electric bill?
How do we?
Yeah.
I mean, every year we've had some extra funds left in that, and we've looked at where we are from January till now and prorated that out. We should still have plenty of extra funds left in it this year as well.
I'll run some numbers. I'll speak on that here.
Ordinance number?
28.
I'll make a motion to pass 2019 OR 28 first and second.
We have a motion second to pass 2019 OR 28 on the first and second reading. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passed on first and second.
Thank you.
Hey, Ms. Crouch, while you're up there, Andy, I'm gonna, for department heads, do you have anything for department heads?
I do not.
Okay. Can I ask you to please speak briefly on the arts building?
Yes.
About the bids and the concept, and that'll save me from speaking at the end. So
I'll be
you're
glad
here.
to. So we worked with the Estopanol group this past spring to put together plans to renovate the entirety of or for the most part, the entirety of the Arts Center. I think most of you have been in it. It's the old Gray and Wells building. It's a little rough inside. This is to update the bathrooms. It's to update and create some kiosks, some areas that artists could go into. Greatly updates the common area. I can bring a picture in here to show you some ideas of what that would be. The original budget for that, based on information we worked with the Stokenol on, was about $250,000. We thought we had that pretty well taken care of, but the low bids came in around $450,000. So we were short funds quite a bit. I would love to be able to continue that project and award a bid, but at this point, we've just not been able to find the funds to do so.
So during our commission meeting, which I represent the council on, it was talked about, is there a way to possibly find the $200,000 that we were short between maybe the council, UEZ, redevelopment, or any other options that'd be available, so we can move forward with the project? I think if we stay with the amount that we have, $250,000, we'll be able to do some of the interior work and some of the basic, I don't know, bathrooms, but not anywhere near completing.
No,
the project.
at this point, we're looking at some other options that we can make some improvements this year, and then hopefully, whenever that funding is available, we could do the rest of it.
And the other thing is, if it's completed, it allows for gallery space and other space that we could actually rent, and does get some revenue back.
Correct.
And would that be artist space?
It would be all artist space, artist booths, yeah, workspaces for them, and gallery space.
So I bring this up as a precursor of maybe a discussion in a future council meeting, and maybe through redevelopment and UEZ, Mr. Ellis, maybe. So that's all. I just wanted to bring it up that we're in search. We want to complete that project this year. It's going to need $200,000. Otherwise, it's going to linger on and not be completed for a while.
Yeah, we would love to see that completed. We really would.
And why was the bid so far off?
A lot of it had to do with electrical work, based on the conversations we've had with the contractors. It was interesting when the electrical designer that was working with the Stokenol came in to start looking at what it was going to take to upgrade the electrical in there. They called some of their co-workers back at the office and said, "Get down here, you got to see this, you'll never see it again." But that's not usually a good thing, and I think that was reflected in the bid prices.
Great. And while you're here, I'm going to ask you another question. Plank Road sidewalk, there was a bid for that.
You're stealing my
Oh.
thunder. That's
I don't have anything.
Go ahead.
I don't have anything else then.
I'll stand here if you don't have anything else.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Let him go ahead and speak on the stop.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Go ahead. Please speak.
Yeah, we awarded the contract. For Plank Road sidewalks going from 10th Street, where we've already made improvements with the 10th Street project, all the way down to Main. We just awarded that last Wednesday at the Board of Public Works meeting. We should be getting underway in the next few weeks.
And how much was the expected kind of estimated cost, and what the bids?
Estimated cost was around $700,000. The bid came in, tested my memory, somewhere around
440.
42, 447, something like that. Yeah.
That was one that came in our favor.
Came in, yeah, we rarely have that. We rarely have them come in our favor.
Right.
So, pardon?
While you're up there,
Yes.
He's never coming.
well, we're talking about sidewalks. Do you remember when we discussed the plan and all, and I brought up about that little stretch from 10th Street down to the apartments there on Woodland?
Correct.
Well, when we had all this rain, usually my phone blows up for drainage. It was blowing up because still people walking along there with all that rain, getting caught in that rain. And 2 kids almost got hit. Luckily, the car saw them the last moment, but swerved. I mean, just missed them. So I was asked by Rolling Fields neighborhood and some other ones to put that up again, put that on your radar, kind of move it to the front.
Forward. Well,
because it's becoming a safety hazard.
it was kind of exciting to see the Plank Road project come in so far under budget. So we've been excited to look at some other areas that I know that are needing that.
There's just so many not only from the subdivision, but from the apartments. Now they're going to that Dollar General store. So
Sounds good.
when they're coming off of 10th Street and they're not seeing them.
Yeah, they're not seeing them. Okay.
All right, nothing else for you.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Anyone?
Any other questions?
Good night.
Thank you. Moving forward, number 17, attorney comments. Mr. Wilder.
Mr. Crouch, would you like to? So, first, welcome, Mr. Ferris, and I just want to tell you right now, this was a conspiracy for this meeting to go so smoothly and for things to be so easy.
Be glad we didn't
They're
talk about
lulling you
restrooms.
into complacency. And you'll also learn when I have nothing to say, it's a great day, so I have nothing to add. Good seeing everybody.
Well, Larry, you need to give him all your contact info.
Well, not all that.
I don't see any department heads here to talk. I don't see anyone. So, anyone sign up for public comment?
No.
All right, council comments. Mr. Parrish, you get to go first. Welcome to the council.
There's the setup.
Well, I'm just so honored to be here and to be able to serve as a council person. And I'm very thankful for all the help that I've received so far. You know, there's a lot more than you think about this position. And so I'm open ears, but I've had so much help from everyone at this table, a lot of folks from behind the scenes that run our city government. I feel like we're very fortunate to have the people that we have. It's one thing I've noticed as I've gone around and met everyone that I feel like our city employees really care, and I definitely noticed that with all the people that I've talked to, and they care about Jeffersonville, and they care about doing a good job. So I'm very impressed by that, and just thanks for everyone for getting me up to speed.
Mr. Maples.
I know Councilperson Owen brought up the utilities, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Heather.
Sorry, I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I've already looked at it.
Okay. How many, well, I'm not going to go against you when it comes to numbers, but how many different departments pay water and sewer?
All of them.
I mean, what the number would you, if you had to guess?
All of them that are outside this building, and then this building is under one. So you got animal shelter,
Police, fire,
police,
all
fire,
stations.
vehicle maintenance, all outliers.
So if was there any maintenance through contract services to fix the water and sewer, the water leak that you were aware of?
I'm not aware.
So if this water leak, and this budget was probably based on yearly budgets prior to last year and the year before, utilities.
Yes.
So we have potentially went, I don't know how long Ms. Green's been the animal service director, but we've been budgeting $11,000 a year, and we're coming in at projected budget now. If I'm running the numbers from this month for the year, just averaging that would be $2,000, which the difference would be $8,000, which in 4 years would be a substantial amount of money if we were going that long before we fix this problem.
I can look back, I don't know.
I try to look back in the notes.
I mean, I can look in the ledger and see how far back we had the leak.
Yeah.
Or if it was a slow leak that it just gradually kept getting bigger, but I'm not sure.
Because, a leak in the water also, the sewer is based on your water consumption. As a person that had to fill up a swimming pool twice this year, I fully understand that. If in just the sewer, the animal, if we just took the average of money, that if we did the electric bill for the animal shelter, there's a $2,000 difference based on the electric bill from this month, which I would think would be highly elevated versus winter months because we're running on gas. And I think this maybe we need to look at utilities a little bit better in our budget for next year, or why we're paying such high numbers. Like I said, if we've been budgeting $11,000 in sewer alone and water $4,000, and it's coming in 20% of that after we fix this thing, we've wasted a ton of money.
Well, I do know that the electric has gone down because of they're no longer running the incinerator there, and so they're contracting that out, so the electric bill will go down for this year. But we can definitely go.
But, we've already paid it, they're not going to give it back, so just making life of that.
Ms. Gill.
Well, Sarah's not here, but I'm going to reach out to her tomorrow and clarify. Because she did call me about the leak. It was underground. I thought it was outside the building when they were doing something for the proposal for the new building and all that. I thought that that's how they didn't know, because everything was fine inside the building. It was underground in one of the, but I'll clarify that to see if that is this particular leak that she was talking about.
It was just, we're talking about moving money out of utilities, and it happened again tonight, and you add up that amount of money over so many years of, my sewer bill is elevated because there's a leak. I'm responsible for fixing that, and I'm responsible if someone questions why my bill is so high at my residence.
Ms. Gill?
Welcome. We're all here. There's 9 of us, and we all come from, we have all different personalities, but we all come from different angles, different backgrounds, and, you got ones that are here on the redevelopment, but just don't hesitate to reach out to Amy and all of us. We're here to help you, and it's wanted to welcome you aboard. That's it.
Mr. Hawkins?
Well, I have several things. So get comfortable, everybody. No, first, welcome, welcome. You're having conversations with you. I really feel as if your heart's in the right place for service, and very impressed with you so far. And then Callie is no longer with us, and I would be feel that we were neglected if you didn't know that the upcoming holidays included National Take Your Cat to Work Day, that's tomorrow, National Eat Your Vegetable Day, and the summer solstice is June 21st. I didn't know which one of those Callie would have picked, so I thought I'd include all of them. More seriously, Les, the trees on 10th Street and Highway 62. I don't know who's responsible for what section, but they look like garbage. Particularly when there's some dead ones on 10th Street that need to be kind of taken, and it's kind of, I know maybe now isn't the right time, but at least we could pull the dead ones. And then when you go out to the north end, to the 6th District, I believe that is managed by the state, and if so, we need to bring to attention, there were probably 10 planted, and 7 of them are dead, or gone.
Are you talking on the sides or the median?
In the median. Okay. And particularly out there by me in the north end, you go by them, they've either been hit, missing, gone. Just get rid of them altogether if they needed to, because it really looks bad when we have this beautiful new development and then nobody's taking care of the easiest thing that there is there to take care of. So I thought I'd bring that to your attention. And then lastly, and most seriously, Ron had mentioned about kind of like giving a report from the UEZ and from redevelopment to let everybody know like kind of what's going on. It just so happens at the last redevelopment meeting, by state statute, I think now, once a year, the redevelopment there's an attorney that we pay to come, and he kind of gives the status of all of the TIF districts and how everything is going. And he prepares this very nice report for us from all of that. And I spoke with Les. I don't know how exactly we'll do it, but we're going to enter that into the record and get every council person a copy of that sent to you, and it'll kind of show the liquidity and the financial status of each one of the TIF districts that we have in Jeffersonville. And it was somewhat legalese listening to the report, but it was very insightful. When do they roll off? How much is left in each one? What are the bond liens against it? So that information might be useful to everybody. So, however, I need to work with Les or Vicki or whomever, we'll get that to you before the next meeting. And that is all.
Mr. Owen?
I have a list also. And to piggyback off Mr. Hawkins, with the annual report, anybody who comes to the redevelopment commission meetings monthly, we get a printout for a financial report similar to what we have here from the finance department that outlines every TIF, every obligation, every account balance, and anybody is welcome to come and look at that if you want to see it. I'll let you look at my copy. Was going to mention Plank Road came in under budget. That should get started here shortly. Last week we were out celebrating the completion of the 10th Street project. That's exciting. I drove down 10th Street to get here tonight for the first time in a while. Chapel Lake Park is coming along very nicely. If you haven't had a chance to drive by there, it's pretty impressive. Look at some of the pictures that Nathan Pruitt has from out there. It's coming along very well. If you didn't see it today, there was an announcement, $52 million projected investment out at River Ridge by a Louisville-based company called Farm Accord. They're going to start their Indiana operations and base that in Jeffersonville with America Place, starting with office space and then moving into an 80,000 square foot facility out there. And then tomorrow we will break ground on a private development, $4 million into a medical center out on 10th Street next to Kroger. So all big things, all high dollar items coming down the pipe. I just wanted to make sure that we're bringing as much attention to that as we can, because we have a lot of things going in the right direction right now. So that's all.
Mr. Ellis?
I'll start first with you talked about the UEZ. Currently, we're not in a position to give a report on the operations. As a matter of fact, there's been some changes in the leadership of the UEZ, and we will be working towards transparency with the organization so that the council will have an idea of what's going on, who's doing what, how much is in our fund report. Right now, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. But as the time goes on, and we have these reports available, I will be able to come back to the council and report on what we're doing at the UEZ. And our new chairman of the UEZ is here. Peggy Hartley is our new chairman of the UEZ, and I look forward to working with her in the future to be able to bring the council this information. The other thing that I have, I got a call from a lady today. Matter of fact, she called me when I was eating lunch. That's a bad time to call me.
He likes it.
But I did take her call, and she lives in the 300 block of Pearl Street, and she was wanting to know why she couldn't get, or they couldn't get, the decorative street lamp posts that they have up and down Pearl Street in some of the other areas. And I told her it wasn't anything that I could really do about that. Matter of fact, I put Andy on the hook.
What was the location?
It's the 300 block of Pearl Street. So I told her she needed to call the mayor's office and talk to the city engineer and see what they could do with that. And if it come to funding for it, then the council could address that at a later date. So that's all I have.
Mr. Samuel?
You spurred a question, Ron. Do you know who wrote the checks for UEZ? Is that Heather or who?
I have no Peggy could probably tell you.
Nathan
Yes.
Pruitt is our executive director, he handles that.
Okay. I don't understand why we couldn't go to him and say, I need a report. I don't want to sidetrack us, but I was just curious of that.
First of all, for a check to be written with UEZ, it takes two signatures, the chairperson and the executive director. Or at that time, the executive director was treasurer. My understanding that was kind of the last thing I wasn't a phone call, but now the executive director is no longer the treasurer. So, but I know the new bank account has been changed, but it will still require two signatures, so not one person can just sign. And a treasurer's report is given at every meeting. At this last meeting, I don't know, it was a special meeting to discuss just certain items.
Okay. I don't want to sidetrack, but I thought it shouldn't be hard to get a financial report if you just ask the person, especially if it's an employee of the city. That'll be really easy. My comment I want to make is, hopefully by our next meeting, Larry will have for us an ordinance relating, I brought up an idea about some funding for homeless needs and services, not for admin costs, but that he'll have some information that, well in advance, so you can read it, we can talk about it, I can explain it if we like it and move forward. If we don't, we won't, but I want to just put it out there that hopefully next meeting we'll have something for them. And welcome, Joe. Look forward to working with you.
One quick thing, everything that's signed, these right there. Okay.
Dustin not being here threw him for that.
Yeah.
I just have one quick topic. We talked about UEZ, and I had some discussions with some people, and I'm not familiar with the whole concept, but I'm going to ask our attorney to look into an economic revitalization area in lieu of a UEZ, and what the benefits are going that, possibly considering that option. My understanding is more transparency and more control by the council, but I don't know all the ins and outs, so that's just something to to look into. But that's all I got. With that,
Motion adjourned.
meeting adjourned.